Is the African creative industry worth over $10 billion? I'm talking about the movie and music industry to be very specific. And if that's the case, why haven't we done anything about it? We'll be taking a look at an article that expatiates on this very topic and why it is very important for leaders in this industry to perhaps pay a close attention to some of the issues raised in this very article. And also, Waltzing with Brando, a story, a film about Marlon Brando, actor of The Godfather, is getting a deal, a North American deal, to relaunch itself into the film market. This film was actually released in 2024, but getting a new boost at the Cannes market when it got this deal. We'll be taking a look at these stories and more in this very episode of the Film Mandate. I am Papa O2. Stay tuned. Welcome back once again to another exciting episode of the Film Mandate, episode 40. And I'd like to thank all of you for joining me for this very episode of the Film Mandate. So, moving straight away into the very first story that we have a story that talks about Africans' untapped industry. And this is an article published in the Graphic Online, written by Richmond Edu Poku, which was published last month. But the issues raised in it's so important and vital, and I thought it's worth it to bring it up in this very episode so that we can read it and delve into some of the interesting ideas he shared. So let me go straight away. It's quite a lengthy article. Please bear with me, but it is very important to the movie industry as well. So I'll read. The untapped $10 billion gold mine of Africa's music and movie industry. So I read, yeah. So Africa is home to a dazzling mosaic of sound, color, and story, a continent where culture doesn't just live, it dances. With its vibrant rhythms, rich storytelling traditions, and visually stunning artistry, the creative spirit of Africa is not only centuries old, but also incredibly future ready. From the hypnotic pulse of Afrobeats to the cinematic spectacle of Nollywood, Africa's cultural export is already commanding global attention. But here's the twist in the tale. While the world grooves to Africa's beat and binges on its screen stories, the continent itself is still only scratching the surface of a colossal economic opportunity. Welcome to the untold story of Africa's creative economy, a $10 billion gold mine that's waiting, not so patiently, to be unlocked. Numbers don't lie. According to the African Union and other leading bodies, Africa's creative industries could generate over $10 billion annually and create millions of jobs if only the right infrastructure, policy, and investments were in place. Let's break it down. In Nigeria alone, the music industry is valued at over $1 billion, with megastars such as Wizkid, Burna Boy, Davido, and Tiwa Savage consistently dominating global charts, selling out concerts from Lagos to London. Nollywood, Nigeria's prolific film industry, releases over 2,500 films annually, making it the second largest in the world by volume. South Africa's music sector contributes more than $500 million to its economy, driven by genres like Amapiano and Afro House, with stars like Black Coffee headlining global festivals. East African powerhouses like Kenya and Tanzania are producing digital creatives, filmmakers, and musicians who are scaling global platforms, racking up millions of views, streams, and fans. Clearly, Africa isn't short on talent. What it lacks is the enabling environment to turn this cultural currency into hard currency. What's holding us back? Despite the buzz, Africa's creative economy faces a laundry list of challenges. Piracy, the silent killer. Let's call it what it is: theft. Piracy costs Africa's music industry over $100 million annually. In Nigeria, the problem is so rampant that many artists skip physical releases altogether, relying solely on streaming platforms that, ironically, still don't offer great returns. Imagine building a hit only to have only revenue siphoned by illegal downloads and bootleg DVDs, infrastructure or lack of support or lack thereof. You can't build a $1 billion industry with a broken toolbox. Across the continent, creatives struggle with limited access to modern recording studios, film equipment, post production facilities, and digital distribution platforms. In many cases, projects are born in passion but die in logistics. Capacity gaps, talent without training. Talent is abundant, but opportunity isn't. Many African creatives lack access to high quality training, mentorship, and career pathways. The result, incredible ideas that can't compete on a global scale, not for lack of creativity, but because the technical execution isn't there yet. Weak intellectual property protections. Without strong intellectual property laws, the creative economy is a house of cards. Artists need legal systems that protect their work, support royalties, and penalize infringements. Without these safeguards, innovation becomes risky and investment dries up. Strategies to awaken the giants. If the potential is real and the numbers say it is, how do we turn Africa's creative gold mine into a functioning economic engine? Invest in infrastructure. This isn't optional. Governments and private investors must prioritize world-class studios, film cities, sound stages, theaters, and content distribution networks. Think less makeshift microphone and more multi-million dollar creative campus. Case in point, Nigeria's Creative Industry Finance Initiative, backed by the central bank, is helping fund film and music projects with real infrastructure. It's a model worth scaling continents worldwide. Build the builders, capacity development, training programs, scholarships, creative academies, and mentorship networks must be established urgently. African creatives need the skills to not just produce content, but manage, monetize, and market it on a global scale. Programs such as Multi-Choice Talent Factory, AFREVs, talent training camps, and local incubators are lighting the way, but they need fuel. Tackle piracy head on. Combating piracy requires more than police raids and angry tweets. Governments must enact and enforce IP laws that actually deter infringement, but it also requires public education. It also requires public education. Consumers must understand that paying for art is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Digital rights management tools, blockchain-based royalty systems, and secure content platforms can help track and protect creative work in real time. Leverage technology and the internet. The internet is a game changer, but Africa must play to win. Streaming services like Boomplay, Audiomack Africa, and Indundo, have shown that localized platforms can thrive. Add social media, YouTube monetization, and direct-to-fan models, and you've got a digital economy waiting to erupt. But again, connectivity matters. Investing in broadband access, digital literacy, and tech entrepreneurship is just as critical as studio space. Build ecosystems, not silos. Africa's creative Africa's creative growth cannot happen in a vacuum. Governments, creatives, private investors, and NGOs must collaborate on long-term strategies not that go beyond hype. We need continent-wide creative summits, regional licensing deals, export frameworks, and policies that treat culture like the billion-dollar industry it is. The youth are not the future; they are the now. With a median age of just 19.7 years, Africa is literally the youngest continent on Earth. That's not just a demographic stat, it's a creative superpower. Gen Z and Gen Alpha Africans are digital natives who think globally, remix locally, and hustle endlessly. They are coding by day, recording at night, and uploading from anywhere, everywhere in between. The job of today's leaders, government officials, investors, industry veterans is to ensure they have the tools, networks, and systems they need to build empires. Curtain call. Africa, Africa, the world is listening. The stage is set, the cameras are rolling, the music is playing. Africa's creative economy is not a potential anymore. It's an imminent explosion. It's the beat in your airport, the drama on your Netflix queue, the dress on the runway. What it needs now is investment, infrastructure, and intentionality. The rewards, massive. A thriving creative economy can create millions of jobs, increase GDP, reduce youth unemployment, and position Africa not just as a cultural powerhouse, but as an economic one. So let's stop treating creativity as a side hustle and start treating it as the engine of Africa's next economic leap. Because the sleeping giant is waking up. And when it roars, the world won't just listen, it will dance. It will dance. So, yeah, this is the article about Africa's untapped gold mine worth over $10 billion. I'm saying worth over $10 billion because the the challenge we are facing in Africa, it's, as I've been saying all the time, it has to do with three things: infrastructure, policies, and data. Infrastructure, policies, and data. And this has been so prevalent over the years that you have a lot of Africans in the industry who would now prefer to travel abroad to seek greener pastures. Can you imagine when where we have an Africa that all these things are in place, where there is funding to ensure that all these three factors are really more properly established? You have all these people traveling for greener pastures, not just stay, but find a way of making their creativity boom on a scale that is unprecedented. Some of the things that I feel like our leaders don't see is the fact that because it's just a creative economy, the currency is not hard cash as they see in other aspects of industries in the country or in the continent. They tend to gloss over it. They tend not to pay attention to it. But Africa's population in itself is second to Asia, meaning that it's the second most populous continent in the world. And yet, the amount of money or we make from the creative industry is nothing but peanuts. You know, all because the industry is not well structured to help creatives bring out the best as they make the necessary revenue to support their craft. So you have a lot of filmmakers on the continent resorting to YouTube to put their productions there. That is not to say that YouTube is not a good platform. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. But if you look at how the industry work in certain European countries and in America, movies have the opportunity to go to well networked cinemas all over the continent of America and Europe before it is finally released onto any digital platform whatsoever. And even research has pointed to the fact that once you do that, after it has found its theatrical run and it's now on the digital platform, more people even troop there to watch these films because word of mouth would have spread, and even potentially if it wins some prestigious awards, it then keeps the conversation going on that particular movie, which then leads more people to go and watch it when they find it on a digital platform. Because on a digital platform, it's very easy to access it wherever you find yourself just by the click of a phone, or maybe if you want to watch it in the comfort of your home on a television. So the potential of our industry, to be very specific, the movie industry is huge. But what is siphoning that money away from that industry is the fact that we lack these infrastructures, we lack the data, and we also lack the policies that can govern to protect the IP, intellectual properties of the creators. And piracy is a big problem. Just a couple of episodes ago, I was speaking about the how the some television stations in Ghana were not helping with the rights of some of these films. And not just that, but it cuts across a number of African countries as well. So there is a big problem that is hampering the growth of the creative industries because perhaps the right leaders who are in the right positions are not paying attention. They are not paying attention. They're only looking at the industries that provide them the hard cash instead of looking at helping partner with private, investors to help build the creative industry. The creative industry, because everyone likes to be entertained. Every individual likes to be entertained. It doesn't matter which aspect of an industry you find yourself in. And because of that, it lends the creative industry to be one of the most lucrative industry ever. Hollywood, Bollywood is one of the most lucrative industries as we find it. Even though Nollywood is the second most prolific film producer in the world, yet it's not experiencing that wealth that it ought to experience compared to Bollywood and Hollywood. And Africa as a whole, as a continent, the amount of creativity that exists on this continent that is not being tapped, it's amazing. It's amazing. And listen, Africa watch films a lot. We do watch films in whichever platform or medium that you're going to put it in. Africa watches it. Africa watches it. But the challenge has always been the right infrastructure doesn't exist. Just imagine that every district in Africa, let me put it that way, every district or province in Africa has even just one cinema, and it's spread all over, all over the continent. And then you have it's so networked that it's one market where when a movie is released at a particular time in any part of Africa, it is watched all in all these cinemas all over Africa. You can imagine the amount of money that would troop in. Let's even assume that out of the 1.5 billion, over 1.5 billion citizens on the continent are watching these films, and let's say just maybe 500 million are watching it all over the continent. And the 500 million is just even $1 per ticket. You can imagine that just at a go in all these cinemas, we are likely to make about $500 million just opening weekend, not counting the multiple viewings and the multiple viewers and so more. So you can imagine the amount of money that can be made uh, just by selling tickets, even at a $1 million rate to $1 rate ticket to people who are watching all across board. Same can be applied to the music industry with regards to whichever digital properly regulated and pioneer digital platforms is going to really make a great impact on the continent. And it's not even been tapped. So governments of the day shouldn't just pay attention to the engineering fields, the real estate fields, agricultural fields. Yes, those are important. I'm not diminishing the importance of those other industries. But in as much as they are paying attention to these industries, they need to equally, pay same attention to the creative industry, the movie industry, to be specific, for the purpose of this very platform. So there's a lot that we are losing because the right infrastructure is not in place, data is not in place to tell us even how many people are in the industry, how many people buy tickets on a weekend. None of these things really. There are pockets of them that exist all over, but they are not well structured to help, because all these people who have created these platforms actually needs capital injection to make sure that they can cover as many places as possible. Policies are not being made, and even when they are made, the sad part of it is that it is not really enforced. It is not really enforced, and that makes it of non-effect, and that is really, really sad. That is really sad because there's a lot of monies in this industry that I believe that the $10 million is just a fraction of what Africa stands to make if all these things are properly put in place. Because it's not just going to be Africa making the money within the continent, the world is going to also pay attention. And as the world pays attention and also patronize the industry, you can imagine how much money the industry is going to make. The industry is going to make. So, yeah, there's an appeal to there's a great article written by Richmond Edupoku. I don't know, maybe sometime I need to find a way of getting him to actually talk more about this article and some of the findings he has made personally to inform world leaders and particularly African leaders to do something about it. They ought to do something about it. The economy of the world or of Africa is not just based on other industries minus the creative industry. The creative industry is key to the economy. And the estimation is that about the Africa as a whole, our population makes 19% of the entire world. 19%. Let's even round it up to 20%. That is 1/5 of the entire world. 1/5 of the entire world. So you can imagine the potential Africa wields in terms of the creative industry should we go out in our full force. It will be contributing 1/5 of the entire annual, revenue of the creative industry, and that is massive. That is massive. We need to do something about it, and we need to do something about it now. Policymakers, stakeholders of the industry, filmmakers, investors, government, we need to get on board and do something about this. The earlier we do it, the better for us all. So this is really a great article, and I'm excited to have chanced upon it. And yeah. So moving on from that to an article published in the Deadline about a movie that was produced. That was a movie, yeah, that has been produced with regards to one of the greats in terms of filmmaking, Marlon Brando. It's Waltzing with Brando, and it stars Billy Zane. And the look is so cunning for those who perhaps, for if you're watching it, the actor, the person on screen is not Marlon Brando. Let's get it clear. It is not Marlon Brando, but the resemblance is so cunning. This is Billy Zane, and Billy Zane starred in Titanic, and I think he also starred in the Mummy, that starred Fraser. Yeah, Fraser. So this is so compelling. His look is so compelling. You may think it's actually Marlon Brando. And this movie, Waltzing with Brando, has finally gotten an American deal at the Cannes market. And let's read an article. It was written by Andreas Weissman, published May 15th. Yeah, so let me read this briefly. Exclusive, Waltzing with Brando, the feature starring Billy Zane as Marlon Brando, is set for North American release via Iconic Releasing. The film is scheduled for release in the US and Canada on Friday, September 19, 2025. The AMI Worldwide is handling international sales at the Cannes market. Directed and written by Bill Fishman, Tapeheads, Waltzing with Brando is based on the published memoir by Los Angeles architect Bernard George, who was hired by Brando in the late 1960s to design an ecologically self-sustaining retreat on a remote and uninhabitable atoll in Tahiti. What begins as an architectural experiment becomes an eccentric and emotional journey into isolation, celebrity, and the limits of utopian idealism. Yeah, you can check out the trailer below, in which Zane bears a striking resemblance to screen icon Brando. Yeah, so Zane Titanic leads a cast that includes John Heder, Napoleon Dynamite as George, alongside Camille Razat, Emily in Paris, Alena Hoffman, the Hundred, Rob Corddry, Bowles, Tia Carrere of that's Wayne's World, and Richard Dreyfuss, Jaws. Brando's quest to build an eco-friendly retreat was decades ahead of its time, and telling that story through the eyes of Bernard Jared gave us something both intimate and unexpected. It's been a labor of love to bring this lesser known chapter of his life to the screen. We are proud of what the team has created and excited to be partnering with Iconic and VMI to finally share it with audiences, said Dean Bloxham, executive producer. There's some undeniable fascination with Brando around the world, but what makes this film special is the way it shows him through such an unexpected personal lens. That combination of myth, humanity, and humor is what makes it so compelling and why we think it will resonate with audiences everywhere, added Dan Fisher, EVP of Sales at VMI Worldwide. We are committed to championing unique artist-driven films that leave a lasting impression. Waltzing with Brando is one of those rare projects Academy recognized with rich with Hollywood lore and anchored by a magnetic performance with Billy Zane. We are excited for audiences to finally experience it in theaters, commented Mark Rupp, CFO, COO, and co-founder of Iconic Releasing. Waltzing with Brando is executive produced by Dean Bloxham's Diano Productions, Bill Fishman's Fallout Entertainment, Billy Zane Productions, and Doug Death and Brett Kerr. Yeah, so indeed, there is indeed a movie to look out for, if not for anything, perhaps for the performance of Billy Zane's performance as Marlon Brando. And Marlon Brando is an iconic actor, very iconic actor. He also starred in the film, I think Superman, the Superman film as Joel, and his performance was very iconic as well. So this film, indeed, it's perhaps a must-watch film when it's finally released, perhaps worldwide, not just in the North American market, or perhaps when it comes onto the digital platform. It is a movie indeed to look out for. And Billy Zane is a good actor. You know, that guy is a good actor in every performance that in every production that he performs in or acts in, he brings his A game. And for him to be playing such an iconic figure like Marlon Brando, it is indeed a plus for him. And I hope it does wonders for his career as well. Maybe let's just take an opportunity to watch the trailer briefly. It is not really a trailer reaction, but I think it is something that we can, watch for the purposes of what we are doing. Let's take a look at this trailer, and then
For justice, we must go to Don Corleone.
Well, why did you go to the police? Why didn't you come to me first?
Cut.
Were you happy with the way The Godfather came out?
I don't think that's really worth talking about.
I hear you like to build great big domes and stuff like that.
I guess you could say I'm passionate about structurally efficient environments in the most inhospitable areas of the world.
Me too, that's why I chose Beverly Hills.
I own an island nearby. It's more beautiful than words can describe, and cinematography can capture, and I want to move there.
An island with no potable water.
Working on a process to bring clean, drinkable water to the island, made from my own urine.
Or food sources, or electricity.
Eels.
Eels.
Electric eels. Put the eels in the lagoon, we siphon off their energy, power our generators.
To live out there with even a moderate amount of modern convenience would be a monumental undertaking.
Bernie can build it.
I want to build the hotel right here.
Wait, hotel? What hotel?
How else do you think I'm going to pay for all this?
The airstrip alone is costing 3 times what you estimated.
There is no more money.
From us to
you on this project at all. Ever.
This one makes way too short! You will crash! You will
Yeah. And Zane. That's great. That was really great.
Yeah, so that is Billy Zane's Waltzing with Brando, a story about the Marlon Brando's life, which depicted his life on an island that he purchased and wanted to create a sort of retreat or something on that island. So I think it's going to be an interesting film, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it. If I mean, when it's perhaps released digitally worldwide, and maybe in the cinemas as well, I think it will be a great peek into the life of Marlon Brando, one of the iconic actors. And perhaps you can also even go and watch The Offer, which is a story about how The Godfather as a film itself was created. And the guy who also featured in it was very resembled Marlon Brando so well. Let me see if I can even come up with the one who acted as. I'm not so sure who played Marlon Brando in The Offer. Oh, okay, so that's a different actor altogether, Justin Chambers. He also resembled Marlon Brando so well. Yeah, so Waltzing with Brando has gotten a North American deal, and I hope it does well at the box office. Yeah, it does well at the box office, and also maybe helps the career of Billy Zane on a massive scale than ever before. Yeah. So that wraps up my second story for today's episode. So moving forward, today being a weekend, as usual, I'll not leave you without what is showing in the cinemas this very weekend. So beginning with the Ghanaian cinema, at Silverbird, we have, it looks like there isn't much in new releases in the Ghanaian markets for this very weekend. But then you have Final Destination, which is releasing today. Yeah, releasing today. I think it's already begun in the morning at 10 a.m. upwards. So you can check the time slots and see which one works for you, and you can go and watch it as well. So Final Destination Bloodlines is showing in the cinema for those who like horror. So be well aware of the genre before you go watching it. If you are not scared, you can go and watch it. Also, Shadow Falls, released last week, is still in the cinemas as well, still showing. Thunderbolts is still showing in the cinema for the Marvel fans or comic book movie fans. It's also showing. And Ben Affleck's The Accountant 2 is still in the cinemas showing. For the horror fans, again, you can go and watch Until Dawn, which is still in the cinemas showing. And Sinners. Why do I keep saying cinemas? Sinners is still in the cinemas showing. Sinners in the cinemas is still showing. Yeah, so you can go and check it out. A Letter to God, a Gollywood film. A Black Star Films is still showing in the cinemas. Yeah. And last but not the least, The King of Kings. And there are several others which is still in the cinemas showing currently. So you can go and check it out in the Silverbird cinemas and check it out. Yeah. So moving on from there to the international arena, we go to the Rotten Tomato website, and then today in the cinemas or in the theaters, yeah, let me not confuse it that way. So in the theaters today is showing Kiki's Delivery Service. Is going to be re-releasing that is tomorrow. It's be releasing, and it has such a great tomato score of 98% critics and then 89% for audience. So the Kiki's Delivery Service animation, you can go and check it out. Also releasing tomorrow is the Metropolitan Opera Salome. Metropolitan Opera Salome. I don't know much about that, but it's also releasing tomorrow. Tomorrow releasing again is Hansen's Island Revenge. Hansen's Island Revenge, which is releasing tomorrow. And also Final Destination which has a great tomato score, is also releasing internationally as well. And also, Hurry Up Tomorrow is releasing. It has a very terrible critic score, but very good, audience score. I don't know why the difference is that vast, but perhaps when we watch it, we will know why the critics may not like it, but the audience like it. And also, Sister Midnight is releasing in the cinemas. I think it's a Bollywood film. It's a Bollywood film. Also, we have Deaf President, which is an Apple TV Plus releasing. I don't know whether it's releasing in the cinemas or just the digital platform of Apple Plus. And also, things like this is releasing today, same as The Rules releasing today, and Bound releasing today. And there are several other movies on the Rotten Tomato website that is releasing as well. I'll be leaving all these links in the description below so that you can check it out. And if you're interested, you can go and take a look at any of them at a time convenient for you. So this wraps up my stories, not just for today, but for the week. I'll be coming your way again also on Monday with interesting stories that will be coming over the weekend. So thanks to all of you this very Friday for joining me. Thanks to you so much. This being the 40th episode, and also I'd like to thank my followers on TikTok for rising up to 200. I would like to thank all of you for joining me, and for all those who have been joining my various platforms for this very thing I'm doing. I'm so grateful unto you, and thanks for encouraging me and supporting me by following me on these platforms that I find myself in. So thank you so much, and I'll come your way once again on Monday with another episode of the Film Mandate. I'm Papa Otu. See you soon.